You have it, really?
I have it. You're on.
You-
I know you're traveling, so I got mine out right away.
Okay, there we go. All right, ding, 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 ding all the way. We have such a show to talk about, and we have such incredible, weird things to talk about as well. But
We were gone
man,
last week, Jason, because you
yeah,
two are on the road and traveling and this, that. And I was afraid that we weren't even going to be able to do tonight's show. So I'm glad.
same,
It's nice to see
same.
you.
But I didn't know that we were going to get these 2 episode a week kind of thing, like what they were doing with Below Deck Sailing.
Okay, a couple things about that. One, it kind of killed me the last night because I had to knuckle down and watch 4 episodes because I put off last week's episodes. I'm like, I'll get to it later in the week. We're not doing a show. Jason and Adam are traveling. Fine. And then last night I was like, afternoon, I was like, oh crap, I have 4 episodes to watch tonight.
That is 4 hours. Well, I guess if it's on Peacock, you're like, cutting it to 45 minutes.
I have a DVR, so
like,
I can kind of skip, commercials and stuff. But
yeah,
I didn't want to not watch them because it's hard to cover this show if you don't have context of what's been going on. So I knuckled down for everybody and watched them. But also, Jason, guess what Natalie and I did today?
What?
We did the whole Barbenheimer thing. We watched. So this morning, so we had to pull this all off during the workday because, for one, we both have a bunch of PTO we need to use before the end of the year. We're going to lose it.
Sure.
But we have a nanny just during the workday to help with our kids. And so we're like, okay, let's take a day off and then we'll go while we have the nanny. So I had to find 2 showings that fit. And one's a 3-hour, one's a 2-hour. It was a pain. But oddly, they have like 9:20, 9:40 showings of movies, which I was like, what? And we were the only ones in the theater. I know. We were the only ones in the theater for, it was us, for like a 9:40 Oppenheimer. And then after that, we ran out to the concessions area. We had like 20 minutes to kill to get like some snacks and then go back in and watch Barbie.
Oh Lord. How was Barbie? And was it as good as watching 4 hours of Below Deck Down Under, or was it like worse? I just have to ask.
You know what? This crowd might kill me, but if I'm being brutally honest about Barbie, like the aesthetics, the art design, sets, costumes, everything, that was amazing. The artistic side was incredible. It really was Barbie come to life, and everyone looked, the parts, and they're all like in classic, costumes and stuff. But the actual movie, I just was like, I don't know. For one, it felt like it wanted to be 3 different kinds of movies. And I'm like, land on something here. What are you trying to be? And then the other thing that I walked away from this is like the message was kind of like, it's either men have to rule the world or women have to rule the world. It didn't really present this idea of like, hey, we could team up and do this together. And there was literally never a moment where Ken and Barbie felt like a couple. Like one was always antagonizing the other and not really into it. It was, I don't know. So I know people are probably crucify me for going after Barbie like that, but
no, I mean, listen, I would love to see Barbie as our chief stew and Ken as our bosun, and just put them in a different kind of work environment they'd never been in before, and seeing if they can work together better than this cast. But I haven't seen Barbie yet. It's on our agenda. I can't decide if I want to see that or Haunted Mansion. Those are the 2 things that I know Adam will sit through. So we'll see. I'm not sure yet.
You need to, like, when there's an afternoon where Adam's working and you just need to get out, go see Oppenheimer. If you
of course, that is on my list. That is on my list.
That's like Academy Award like fodder right there. So let me see. Let's see. I want to see some of the comments because I've been talking about Barbie.
So, guys, Queen Josh is in the house to talk about Barbie tonight.
I know. Oh my god,
Barbie's good. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people have told me they love it.
Yeah. Oh,
my Ken doll was brunette. Oh,
Marianne, I hope you're agreeing with me.
Probably not.
Someone said no.
Maybe
Josh, it was disturbing.
Could it come off disturbing?
I don't know what that comment was about. Dang it, I should have caught that in real time so I knew what Jamila was talking about. Yeah, so anyways, that's my mini review. Sorry, you guys are here to talk Below Deck, and I'm going
Below
off about
Deck.
these
No,
movies.
listen, Barbie sounds pretty interesting. Barbie was more interesting than probably like our past like couple casts and crews that we've had. But guys, if you're just coming into the room, we've already recapped Barbie, and then next week we'll be recapping. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Hey, okay, let's go Below Deck and let's talk about these 4 episodes. And I have a question for you, Jason. Are we not in the middle of a writers and actors strike where we are guaranteed we won't be getting new material for quite some time? Why is Bravo just shoveling up fresh content out the door like they've got stacks of it? Like, wouldn't you slow it down and do 1 a week to drip these things out?
Yes, but you have to realize, and this is something I was actually talking about. Adam was talking with Captain Jason. And I was talking with another cast member who should not be named, okay? Because I don't want to get into trouble with people.
Yeah.
But they're filmed so far in advance. We've talked about this many times here on Anchor Watch. It's just like, Below Deck Med, the new season that we haven't seen, was filmed before BravoCon last year. And now we're coming up to our next BravoCon. Below Deck Down Under season 2 was filmed almost 2 years ago, like right after the first one released. So you're sitting here and you're like, they just might have a ton of footage to put out. They might just have a ton of Below Decks. And right now they've cut other shows like Family Karma and different shows that people would want to watch. I feel like they're trying to fill a void. And I think because of the ratings Below Deck has brought in, they are putting a lot of focus on putting that content out. I could be mistaken. That's how I feel, though.
No, I think you're right. And it's just the normally when you see a strike, you go, okay, this is going to last a few weeks and it'll be done. This one don't feel like it's going to last a few weeks. And people forget too. It's like, okay, so if the strike ends tomorrow, stuff doesn't start filming the day after. Like,
no,
things need to be brought back up to speed and stuff. So there is going to be a gap between whenever this ends and we start getting content out the door. So I don't know. I guess, who am I? I have no idea how much Below Deck and all this that Bravo has already filmed. And I don't know, are reality shows kind of not touched by the strike because they aren't actors? There's no writing. It's all just editing of kind of a documentary, essentially, that they're filming. So maybe.
So originally this show that was like really big, this Vanderpump Rules, right? I mean, I'm saying, I'm like talking to you like elementary, like Vanderpump Rules. Everyone knows what Vanderpump Rules and all the scandal that happened this year that's so popular. Everyone was worried that they would have to shut down because some of them are SAG-AFTRA members and they're unionized and they can't work. However, reality TV does not fall into that and they are able to keep going, which is good. And I think that they do have enough, like I said, Below Deck footage to keep us going and keep pushing that Below Deck franchise on us. Now, one thing I was kind of upset about that we've kind of been complaining about since Below Deck Sailing is those 2 episodes a night, and like sometimes I love watching 2 episodes a night because we get the whole like charter, then we get the after, and then we get into the next charter. And then sometimes it just leaves me kind of like, what did we just do for 2 hours? But how do you feel about that? Do you think this is like helping the franchise at all? Or do you think it's just kind of hindering it?
I think half the crowd's going to say they love it. And half the crowd's going to say,
of course,
give us one. So, look, we end up watching them, right? So, I wish they were dripped out. So but I've always been, I like anticipation and stuff. I like waiting for things. I that's part of the fun for me, So yeah, but I get it. My wife and I, we waited till our kids were born to find out if they were a boy or girl, which I feel like we're some of the last people on the planet to do that. Everyone needs to know everything right away. But so yeah, I'm okay with waiting, but apparently the world, including Bravo, isn't. So I guess we're getting 2 at a time for the foreseeable future. This has been going on for a little while, so I'll take it. we'll watch it and we'll review it. So
Okay, guys, I know we're taking our time getting into the recap for Below Deck Down Under tonight, but we have a lot to talk about. And the first thing I want to ask Josh, I want to ask you, and I want to ask the live chat. We've had 4 in the past year different casts from different franchises. Okay, if you had to put one in front of the other, like let's say this cast of Below Deck Down Under, which I think really great cast. I think we just have a cool crew on a cool boat. It's unique, it's different. And I think, you know, Culver now coming back from season 1 is a good addition to the energy of the boat. So we have Below Deck Down Under. We have our cast of Below Deck Sailing Yacht with the love triangle that we just had. We have our cast of Below Deck with Fraser leading the team, or we have our cast of Below Deck Med. Out of those casts in the past year that we've had, who would your favorite be?
You know, I think maybe Below Deck, the last main franchise.
Where Sandy came back?
Yeah. Or what crew? I remember distinctly us saying we really liked the full cast. Was it Sailing?
Sailing. Well, I think, yeah, we were talking about Sailing because Sailing is kind of like that, you know, we see them over and over again, and
Yeah.
they're just like a really cohesive crew, especially, I mean, not anymore. Now we have Daisy, Colin, and Gary, who will
I
probably.
still was thinking about that later, just recently while we were watching this show. I thought again about Sailing and how much I like the fact that we get to kind of get to know and grow with a core cast over multiple seasons. I really think Below Deck should do that. I think there should be, you know, 4 people that always go through, you know, the captain, if they could find a good chief stew, if they could find a good bosun, and if they could find a good 4th. You know, Sailing's a little different, that we get to know the engineer or whatever, because most franchises we don't. Colin's role we have to get to know, because there's really no room to hide those people, unlike the yachts. Like, you don't see the guys, the chief
in the big
engineer.
room that's just going the whole time, you know, like no one wants to film there.
So we end up not seeing them. But yeah, I don't know. I really like that. Like, I feel like it's more. I mean, so much of what we enjoyed about Sailing last time was just the history we had with that main group and what was going on with them and all that kind of stuff.
And at the same time, so much that we hated by the end of it was the same group, but in a different triangle that we never wanted to see them in. I have so I have a question for the live chat too, guys, because I Adam and I were having this conversation earlier, that we really think that they found such a great captain and such a great chief stew. Watching Captain Jason and Aesha in Below Deck Down Under is almost like watching Captain Lee and Kate Chastain. I feel like we have this new core group, you know, of you know, these 2 I don't think will ever change. I don't think they're going anywhere. No, see, Mary, yeah, I love them too. But I think we have that here. I really do. If I had to like go ahead and just place those, I would do Below Deck Down Under right now, Sailing, Below Deck, and then Med. You know, last season that was an interesting crew to say the least. Okay, I want to jump in and I want to talk about before we get into a full recap of episode 5, because that's what we're going to focus on today, is episode 5. There's been so many episodes since we were last here. We have a new addition in the crew, 2 new additions in the crew since we last recapped.
Yep.
Margot has joined, and Culver has now joined, who was on season 1 of Below Deck Down Under. But we have I want to call it, you know what I'm going to call it? Below the boat. Okay, so someone's hitting below the boat right now. Okay. And he happens to be Chef Ryan from season 1 of Below Deck Down Under. He's been pretty vocal, no holds bar in what he's saying about this season of Below Deck Down Under and Below Deck in general. Okay, so let me talk about what he's saying about Below Deck in general. What he's saying about Below Deck in general is that everything you watch is fake, which of course is Bravo. So we already know that we're getting some kind of scripted reality show. But he's saying also that they have dark days, that many nights they stay in hotel rooms, that they're not filming straight through. That he even said that he barely stayed on the boat, you know. And Sean has told us some interesting behind the scenes things like this, but I haven't heard to this extent. And I do understand that we're doing a show, a reality show, and we have to film probably what if the weather's bad for 3 weeks? You can't get everything you need for a full show, right?
I wonder too if part of what Chef Ryan experienced was doing a reality show in the time of COVID. I think things were different stuff because of COVID. That could be part of why he experienced days and stuff like that. Because remember too, there was a real challenge of anyone who was going to go on the yacht, they would bring them, they would quarantine them, and then bring them on for tours
Right.
like that. So you had to have people who were not only rich, but who were able to go on a yacht for a couple days, plus do like a week plus quarantine before getting on that yacht. So I don't know. I will take everything Chef Ryan's saying with a grain of salt. It sounds almost too like I wonder if he'd be saying this if he was cast. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, I don't understand, but he even was complaining about some things about, how production does things. And I'm like, you know what? I want to agree with some of the talent sometimes, but when you sign that contract to do a reality show where the producers and the editors are going to make a show that fits for the network and they don't care about your personal opinion on how the show should be or how the show should go, they're doing a show because they need it to create drama. They need it to show what they wanted to show to bring in viewership. So, I got to say that. So we talked 2 weeks ago, and guys, if you haven't voted in the live chat, in the poll in the live chat, I asked you guys, now that Chef Ryan has revealed, because this is one of his other revelations hitting below the boat, he revealed that Laura and Luke are getting fired. And you guys know 2 weeks ago when we were doing our very first recap of Below Deck Down Under, I let you guys know that Joao is coming back. He's from Below Deck Med. He used to be on a crew with Hannah from Below Deck Med and also Aesha when Aesha was the second stew. So he is coming back as the bosun. But then Chef Ryan also dropped that Laura is going to get fired, which I had been hearing about too. So now we don't know when this is going to happen, but if you guys could guess which one would go first, is Luke going to be fired first or is Laura going to be fired first?
well,
What would your guess be?
I think my guess might be Luke because because we got teased, something goes down next, and we see producers going in his room saying, you hear, hey, you can't do that. That's what makes me think it's Luke. But also, is it possible we'll get, I believe, our first double firing? Like, did they both go over the line and do something nuts, like on a night off, getting drunk, and they both go crazy or something?
Ooh,
and
double firing.
Think about it.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
She, I mean, we haven't gone through the episode yet, but they end up going at it in the shower one night, just totally drunk. And the next day, he realizes, she's calling me her boyfriend and stuff. And I still want to try to hook up with Margot. So he just like totally disses her in front of Margot to try to kind of redeem himself or something and keep the torch burning with her. I mean,
well, my thing is too, is like, I've been watching Captain Jason and I love watching Captain Jason because I feel like he knows when to come in and start managing his boat, when he needs to pay attention to something or help out with something. But then in the past, like 2 episodes, 4 and 5, we haven't seen him really like there at all, which has been great because it makes you miss him when he does come back. You have that kind of like yearning of like, where is Captain Jason? Where is he?
The thing I like about him is, like, for example, a really good example is when they were taking the guests an episode or 2 ago onto out to the picnic, and they were running out of time to cook food. So he told the chef, he's like, hey, listen, I will go I'll barbecue the tomahawks, And so he just rolled up his sleeve. He's like, hey, I know how to barbecue. I'll go barbecue them. And it was like, so when he needs to, he steps in, rolls up. He's not too big to do any job. But I also liked, there was an example of the deck crew was screwing up and he talked to Luke and was like, hey, Luke, this is your mess to fix it. Like, I'm counting on you to go address it, take care of those guys, tell them what's going wrong. And so it's like, he relies on his department heads to do their job. And he's also willing to, when needed, roll up his sleeves and do the job himself. And real quick, you guys, thank you so much, Elaine. Thanks for pointing this out. Folks, if you guys want to help us out, if you want to tip the crew, the easiest thing to do is just hit that like button. It's stupid, simple to do, but it amazingly helps the show.
God, it helps us out so much.
Yeah, it helps with the whole algorithm stuff. So if you could just reach over and tap it, and Jason, I've been like becoming religious on that because I realize how much it helps us. So any YouTube video I watch, I hit that like. And but you know what ends up,
100%.
you know what else happens too is it actually trains YouTube to what I like, and so that it starts suggesting more relevant things. And I found a lot of cool stuff that got put in front of me because it's like, oh, you like this kind of stuff? Here's this guy, here's this girl, you know, stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So yeah, folks, if you can hit
Lo and behold, everyone is pushing dislike currently.
Oh no, no,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right.
That would break my heart.
Guys, we're all about the tip here, and all we want is a tip, a little
Yeah.
like button, a little of a tip. Okay, listen, guys, let's jump into this recap of this past episode. Okay, we've seen a lot that's been happening in the past few episodes. We missed a week, so we're going to jump straight into episode 5, where we start out with our night out, or we come back into this episode with our night out. Of course, you know, we have a lot of things happening. We have Laura and Luke making out. We have Luke and Margot talking. I mean, this is the point of the episode where I think Aesha said, well, I think that Laura likes Luke. Luke likes
this is
Margot.
the whole big Pentagon comment.
Margot, yeah, the Pentagon, the love Pentagon that's happening. Now Laura's making moves on Adam. Adam wants to be left alone. So we just have this like weird, interesting thing happen. And that I can't get past, you know, being a gay man, like how any woman with the right mind wants to date some guy with neon Crocs. Like I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this is don't 14-year-olds wear these at like gym class in high school nowadays? I don't know what's going on, but it was really disturbing to me for some reason.
Here's the deal. There's so much to say about all of these people right now. Yeah,
Can we talk about this photo? Look at this photo, right? Wait, is Luke, is he invested in this? Like, listen, I tried to get this photo like 5 times. I was like, no, he's not into it.
Yeah, you know what? He's like this in summer. Oh, well, sounds like a soap opera. Yeah, it really does.
It is. It is. It's a fucking soap opera.
So yeah, I think it's funny. This dude obviously wants to just hook up with whoever, whenever, whatever, right? Like he's just there to put it in, right? And I think it's funny that Margot, like, she forgets he's the dude who the first night out is trying to kiss her and hook up with her. And then she's like, when she sees him flirting with Laura the next night out, she's like, oh, he's just an F-boy. And it's like, you just realized that? You just realized that?
Right now? He walked on the boat an F-boy, all right?
Yeah,
he walked on, he's like, hey, man, can I like get with that door? Can I get with that window? Yeah. Captain Jason, you know, like, yeah, really, like he just came on like a horn dog, just like ready to go. It was like very
100%
very strange.
And then Laura was interesting because she was pursuing Adam, and the minute he goes like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that, she's like, boom, changes course and just goes for the next guy. Yeah.
Would we consider Laura an F girl?
She said she's got lovers all over the world. So
yeah, she does.
Oh man, Janice, I think you're right. I was gonna ask that. Do we have a new
Gary?
Is he going the Gary path?
I mean, he's going some kind of path.
But he doesn't have the charm that Gary typically has. He didn't have it last season, but he doesn't have the charm that Gary typically has, you know? Gary usually charms people and like the audience likes him. Not last season, but
this past season, I was over him, you know? Usually it's that work hard, play hard Gary that we get. And then this past season, we got just kind of a demented, grosser version of what he usually is. I do have to say though, with all this character buildup with Luke, I don't know when it will happen, but I'm excited to have Joao back. This is like a really good photo of Joao. This is not what he looks like now, but I'm excited to have him back because he's like more settled. I think he has like a serious girlfriend. I think he's like really settled down and has changed a lot since he was on Below Deck last time, because he was quite the disaster like Luke was at,
Well, you know what
last
I
time
was
we
thinking
saw
about
him.
too. When he arrives, right now, Adam is kind of the odd man out because he's Mr. Buy the Books, Mr. Rules, Mr. Trying to do everything. And Luke is kind of like loosey goosey, like, hey, man, come on, we'll worry about safety later, you know, like literally said something to that effect. I do wonder because Joao is very much proper and trying to do things by the book. Maybe Adam and him will click and Adam will like soar once he arrives. You know what I mean? Maybe he'll run the crew in a way that Adam would feel a lot more comfortable with. And then Harry, to me, like, I feel like he'll just toe whatever lines out there. So if it's by the book, he'll be by the book. If it's you really love finding cast photos with the noodles coming out of their mouth.
You know what? There's so many cast photos with these crew members eating noodles, and it just in the worst way. Like, this is something. If you are drunk, stay away from the noodles, the pasta,
Jason,
all of that.
We got to make you a shirt for Christmas with just like 9 photos of the cast members eating
just shoving their mouths full of carbs. Just fucking gross. Okay, but on the topic of Harry, okay, I want to stay on Harry for 2 seconds because I like him. I think he's just a genuinely like happy, nice guy who really wants to pursue this yachting career and be basically a Captain Sean 2.0. He wants to be on an adventure yacht and like go do things. But I love how he is with Margot. I think he's super respectful. I think he really likes her. I don't know where it's gonna go because Margot was even admitting to Aesha. What?
You and I are in different.
Why?
We're on different planets about this.
Wait. Okay, let me finish. Let me finish my
go ahead, and then I'm gonna bring this all back to reality.
But yeah,
everyone else is screaming at the screen right now.
Like, I sound like Aesha.
God. Everyone, you guys comment. Is everyone agreeing with me? This is crazy and absurd. He's a weirdo. He's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong, but he is so awkward and weird. And him and Margot like do not click. Those are
they are a match made in heaven. Look at this drunk moment. They are the worst. Listen,
and look at this. Look at these comments we're getting. All these crazy people are starting to agree with you. Oh my god!
Hey, you know, sometimes I know something, Josh. Listen, I can tell two drunk when these two people are drunk. The way they are a mess, they're so much alike. I just see this working out. I'm like, this is gonna work. This is gonna work out. I don't see this working out.
Yeah, but go back. Yeah, but go back. I don't see this.
All right. It's debatable, guys. So right now, if you guys are listening on the podcast, we're debating between Harry and Margot, and if they, you know, will last. Or, I mean, Margot is admitting to Aesha that she actually has a crush on him and that they kissed, and you know.
Okay, and then what did she say next? She then said, "Remember how you and I were also talking about how we couldn't imagine boning him? I still feel that way." And what was Aisha's response?
You got to keep kissing him until you feel something in your vagina. Yeah, until the sprinklers turn on. That's what she said. Okay, Lord have mercy. This guy.
My gosh, man. We should put a poll up. Yes or no, Harry and Margot.
You know, we'll save it for next week. Let's see where it goes. We'll save it for next week.
We're going to start the next chat next week with that. I got to see what the audience feels.
All right. Speaking of other things that are going, at least Margot kind of finally admits that she feels kind of like an idiot for pursuing Luke in the first place. I mean, I don't know. I mean, she realized, like you said earlier, that, you know, he's an F-boy. And it's like, wow, welcome. We've all seen it. I don't know
if that, I mean, I guess she's admitting to thinking she has a crush on Harry, but you know, you hear those old stories.
Any more sloppy bad photos?
No, real quick. You know those old stories you hear about, like you'll like really old. No, that. Really old couples, you'll ask the old man, "Oh, how did you guys been married 65 years. How did you get her?" Well, when I first talked to her, she didn't want to have anything to do with me. And I visited her every day at her job until she said yes. And it took, 6 months or whatever. And it's just this, like, I always hear that story and goes, wait, you wore someone down into loving you? That's how I feel Harry is with Margot. He just stayed.
I mean, did you hear his speech though, Josh? His speech, first of all, they're both messy drunks. They're sitting here telling the truth. And Harry goes, personality, connection, feelings. And I'm like, where's this going? Like, what is
We have a
happening?
super chat from Ginger.
She was taking it in. Ginger, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Chat. As long as she gets distracted from Jackhole. Yeah, I mean, Luke is definitely a jackhole. I'm putting that back up for a second.
I mean, Harry was like walked her to her cabin, made sure she got in, and like gave her a little air kiss. And then the next morning they were like hugging, and he was apologizing for being sweaty. Like he really likes her. It's kind of cute, but I don't know if she's into that because I don't know. We'll see. I still have hope. You know who I have hope for? Then on Watch What Happens Live this week, we saw them, which I don't know why I don't have a photo of, maybe I do, of Culver this week. But Culver coming back has been great. And Culver and Chef have Chef Zarina have kind of like been, I don't know, flirting a little bit. Culver kind of loves the fact that I think he's attracted to the fact that she cooks and he loves food. And on Watch What Happens Live, Andy asked, like, what was your favorite meal you had on the boat? And then Chef Serena pointed to her. So I'm curious what happened and what we're going to see happen between them the rest of the season.
Well, you know what? I think I really like the fact that they're going at a speed, which I think is more what I would do, more respectful and stuff. Like they would seem genuinely to like each other. There's no rushing. There's no weirdness. He happened to be FaceTiming his mom and had her come and chat with his mom and stuff.
That's cute.
That's more my speed. I know you're more of a Harry Margot type. No, I guess you know what, guys? I'll admit when I'm defeated. According to the chat crew, everyone thinks I'm nuts. You guys all agree with Jason. So I guess I'm just watching.
It depends on what, it depends on what. But Martha brings a good point in the live chat. She says Culver's mother is a chef. And I think he's just kind of like into that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what's not to like? She's smart. She's pretty. And she's like above the riffraff and stuff. So
I like her. I like her a lot. I think we've seen like this much of her to come out of her shell so far this season. And I'm expecting to see more. Angelique said in the live chat, glad they gave Culver to us again. Love a redemption. I mean, the guy's great. He is the entertainment CEO of the boat. And who knew?
Oh, wow. Mary, thank you. And she says, what about Adam not doing his job at night and the guests cutting their foot on glass?
Yes, Mary. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the super chat. Second of all, that is a question I had for you, Josh. Why is Adam in yachting? Why is he there? Because he gets seasick. First of all, he came on this boat with all of this knowledge of safety experience. I did commercial, like I know how it works, but I can't swim and I'm going to throw up if the boat rocks. And I can't clean up teak. So
it is kind of amazing. Who would have guessed a guy who is seasick and can't swim would want to live on the sea? And you know what? I get that he's very knowledgeable and he went to the school and was properly trained and stuff. He'd be like an officer, but it's like, dude, the number one thing you got to learn about leadership is make people want to lead you, not because of your title and your role, but because of who you are. Like there are people who are on a team, and even though their team might have a manager, people still look to that team member as a leader, regardless of the fact they don't have the title. This guy needs to learn how to share his knowledge and his information in a way that will win people over and make them want to hear it. And he's definitely rubbing everyone the wrong way with how he presents himself and how he presents knowledge. And I get some of it is just age. He's young, so he'll grow, and mature, hopefully, and see some of the, the error of some of his ways. But right now it's like, I mean, I see some of myself like when I was younger and more knowledgeable.
But you cheated on your swimming test so you could work on a yacht? Is that that's
I cheated on my makeup test so I can work on Cirque.
Oh, cute. I mean, Ryan in live chat brings up a great point. How do you have a deckhand that can't swim? I mean, at this point, is it a safety concern?
I mean, isn't the deckhand supposed to be able to jump in and save guests if they're...
Yeah. Hey, Adam, you should take the guests out snorkeling in the middle of the water. And if they can't swim or something happens, what are you going to do? Jump in and drown?
Pushing floaties up on his arms and going.
Yeah, let me get my little, what are those called? I think floaties. What are they called?
Yeah, floaties. I mean, that's what we always called them, floaties.
Yeah. Cute. Well, someone needs to order a pair off Amazon for Adam and send them over there. But I mean, listen, I don't think we've seen a lot from him yet this season. So I don't know. We're 5 episodes in. So now at this point where we should know who these people are. And I just don't see Adam coming out of his closet, and no pun intended, but just out of his box, I don't know if that will happen or not.
His protective shell. He's an protective shell.
Josh, I have a very serious question for you. As per Aesha, she said, have you ever experienced proper friction in shower sex? So same question.
Jason. We're not going there.
Just ring your bell.
We're not.
All right.
We're not going there.
So let's jump into another situation that we have, because we had this whole situation between Laura and Luke, going on, and it's become quite serious, especially to Laura. I loved the scene where she ran into his room and was like, here I am, here I am, here I am. And she's jumping in bed and he's like, oh God, she didn't get it. He just wanted to play his F-boy part.
Yeah. I mean, if both parties are willing to do it that quickly, then obviously there's no deep relationship in the making here. Like, figure it out and move on.
Yeah, it's sorry guys, I didn't say it. Aesha said it. I was just curious if anyone had experienced
your answer, Jason. So do you want to share?
I've never experienced friction in anything. So in life. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
All right. Speaking of weird ego comments like that, Laura's ego and attitude towards work and everyone else's time seems to be a little like off. She's always making people wait to go out, Then she's waking up after a lovely night with Luke and opening a beer, and then during her shift having a glass of wine just to check to see if it's still good. Not a good look. And I can see where this is going. I mean, you're predicting and speculating that there could be like a double firing, and maybe possibly you have Luke and Laura doing something that could have them like, coming together and getting fired for something they do together. But she's doing enough on her own.
Yeah.
She really is.
They're going to find some friction, it sounds like. So
just hopefully
friction is on the way. Yeah, I think, look, with her, you and I toured with people from different countries and stuff. And did she not remind you of some of the gals we knew from former Soviet countries with the need to like get fully made up, even if it's just to go to like the grocery store? It's a cultural difference.
Because I hung up with all of them.
Yes.
And I was ready like 15 hours before they were.
Yes.
And I'm like, are we going out tonight? It's our only day off. Are we going to, It
100% reminded me of our time on tour and the gals that we worked with. And they're, it's funny. Aesha says like, hey, 20 minutes, please. Just take 20 minutes to go throw on your blacks and then come back up. We got to get dinner going, And then she runs down and she's spending like an hour and a half getting ready, and it's just to serve guests. It's just put on your black outfit, come back, like, come on, we're doing dinner. But it's like, no, I had to do my makeup, I had to do my hair, I have to look proper. And it's like, the funny thing is too, for the girl that goes through all the trouble supposedly doing her hair and stuff, she's the one whose hair looks the least touched when they go out at night. Natalie and I were both commenting on that. Like,
Yeah, Harry brought that up as well.
yeah, it's like, how is it you spend so much time and there's nothing done to your hair? It looks like you literally just brushed it straight, you know, like that's what it took. It took 2 hours for that. Like, thank you, Jen.
Say here.
Exactly. She looked
the same.
There's yeah.
To me, Luke and Laura are both focused on the wrong thing instead of their jobs. Like the fact that Laura is already saying, "Oh, you're my boyfriend." It's like, okay, girl, like it's been 5 minutes. So already you're giving off Cray vibes for sure. But they're just focused on the wrong things. And I think this is the what's going to lead us to both of their firings, you know, or is exactly what they're doing right now with Laura and her drinking and her
narcissistic
behavior a little bit, and her first, everyone else second.
Also, Amy brings up a good point. It was Laura who broke the glass. She was like mishandling or like kind of like shoved the tray over the table and it shattered, and she did an improper job cleaning it up. Now, granted, Adam should have checked during his the night shift, but yeah.
It's insane. It's so strange watching. This is what super yachting is about. Okay. All right. So we have our new charter coming on. Renee and Sandra with their friends, their employees, and lots of dietary restrictions. No wheat, no pork, no meat, no, what else is there? Dairy, no gluten-free this and that, and that. Listen, this would drive me insane. This would drive me insane if I was a guest with other guests who had all of these things, because it's going to hold up my meal as well. And it would drive me insane as a chef. However, the chef, they're there to figure that out. This is what yachting is about. Whatever your need is, whatever your want is, we will figure it out and find a way to present it to you. Do you think it was executed properly from Chef Serena, or do you think that these guests just had too many restrictions?
Do they have too many? Are they obnoxious? Yes, of course. The answer is yes. We all know that. But did she drop the ball? Yeah, because she did have it on paper. She even admitted, damn it, I dropped the ball. I totally forgot. I was focused on the one lady. I forgot the other ones. She could have made some of the extra stuff and stuff like that. So, but yeah, like my rule of thumb is like, you're allowed to have one thing that you can't eat.
Sure.
Guys.
I'm allergic to peanuts. I cannot have peanuts. And anything in that family, legumes. So like no peas, soybeans, stuff like that. That's just me.
Trust me, it's annoying and irritating to go out with.
But I can eat around it. You know what I mean? Like
it's the one thing. And so when we go out, we avoid that for Jason, or I don't, offer him Reese's Pieces and stuff like that. So we avoid the one thing. You if you start having multiple things, first of all, I mean, unless it's a real medical condition, I'll give you that. But it's rare that someone has a genuine medical condition that takes all these things off a lot of times it's just narcissism, or it's some kind of fad or something, and now you're just a pain in the ass. And
well, it's like what we see with some of these guests who are like, "Oh, we don't drink alcohol," and they're like,
and then
champagne.
Yeah. But I do drink champagne, wine,
you want some red meat with your champagne,
anything rum based and scotch. It's like, oh, okay.
I can't do gin. I'm allergic.
Yeah.
Do you have anything gin free? Yeah. The rest of the damn bar, girl.
I'm gluten free. And then 10 minutes in, can you make me a grilled cheese and get some pizza dough going? Because I think I'm gonna want a hoagie later. So it's like, oh geez, I thought you were gluten free. So
a hoagie. Anyway, all right, sorry. Anyway, so we see this go off. This is kind of where we finish this. And I mean, listen, it's been a tough charter. Captain Jason has tried to get this charter enjoy with all of the weather that's been going on, with all of the rain and everything like that. He's been really trying to have them enjoy. I mean, they even went snorkeling in the rain, and apparently with a drink in their hand, these guests seem to be just fine. So it was good. I like how Harry brought up too that it is actually great, because I snorkel sometimes when it's raining when I'm in Florida, and the fish just come up. It's amazing. It's fantastic. So definitely a great point there. But the last thing I want to leave on, and a question for you and also the live chat. I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter. And Angelique, thank you so much for the super chat. Angelique says, while packing to get back to Detroit, thought this franchise are
Oh,
young and
she's packing.
fresh.
Okay, she's packing right now to go back to Detroit.
Got
So
it.
she's shooting at this.
So she thinks the franchise is young and fresh because maybe they haven't seen the show as overseas get our US shows late. Maybe. I don't know what it is. It does seem fresh. The cast is fresh. And the one thing I want to talk about, Angelique, thank you so much again for the super chat.
I think you make a great point, Angelique. Like, we do take for granted, like, we're getting all these shows all the time, but then we hear all the time that, like, they don't get some of our shows until sometimes 6 months to a year later, sometimes on their station. So yeah, like, maybe we are just taking for granted we see so much and we get so much, but yeah, this crew doesn't seem as tainted, I'll say.
Kind of in like I'm not gonna try not to lose my train of thought because I'm thinking about like how we haven't seen Below Deck Med the next season that was filmed a year and a half ago. So imagine the people getting it like overseas later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was the great thing about Peacock is most Below Deck Down Under went everywhere. But we're getting a lot of like flack or we are like, I don't care, but a lot of people are complaining about this in particular is this yacht and how it's not as luxurious and it's not as amazing as some of the other yachts we've seen before on Below Deck. However, may I just say, I really enjoy this yacht. I think it's nostalgic. I think it has a lot of space to film. You know, every time we see them, they're not like cramped up in like a corner making an espresso. They have space. So even though chef has to do with their kitchen,
the one part is the galley. I wish the galley had more the counter space and just space to work in and stuff. It's kind of odd, but yeah, like I don't know. I kind of dig that yacht. Like
it's cool.
Yeah, it's not as fancy as the other ones, but it's massive, and I feel like if you want to go adventuring, that thing will help you go out and get where you need to go in style. So you're not just straight on an explorer ship, but it's, I don't know. It just feels solid to me. It feels safe in a way, like safer than other ones.
Yeah.
What do we know though? We'll have to ask Captain Sean when we're on. I would love for him to talk about this boat in comparison to others. So when he's on,
absolutely,
we're gonna.
He was telling me that there were other and better options than this boat, so he was confused on why they used this boat. So I'm curious to ask him that as well. Really quickly too, going back to Angelique's point, this is kind of why I think I love this crew, is they are young and fresh. And I don't want to sound like any way, right? So last year at BravoCon, I went to a Below Deck party and it was great. Kyle was hosting it, but I met a lot of the cast from Below Deck, and I was also working for a housewife at BravoCon, and I've been hanging out with a lot of the housewives and stuff too. The level of like, after doing a season of Below Deck, the level of snootiness that I got from some of the cast members, I was just shocked. I was like, this is crazy, because I'm hanging out with these housewives that like, they don't give a shit, but like everyone was a star. And I was just like, wow, this is very interesting. Like it
might be age, Jason. When we were that young, if we were on a show and we were at a convention and everyone was there to kind of celebrate us and what we did.
Yeah, this was a private party though, this
then
like,
you would be even snootier.
Yeah, I would be awful. Like I'd be like, who are you? Get behind the rope. Like, get me a drink. What the hell is... But like it was just shocking to me because some of the portrayals we see on television, for the most part, I want to say, are not really genuine to who I met in person. But that's my experience, my perspective.
Think of this though. When they're filming, they are currently nobodies.
Right.
And it's not until that show is in the can, months later, it finally starts airing. Then people know about them, start recognizing them in public and stuff. So the person you see on the show is who they start out as. Who you saw later was, at these parties and stuff, the person who then had a show that aired and was seen and was kind of known and talked about on the internet and
Right.
DM'd on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I think you see that difference, you know. And then we talked about it, not to keep going back to last season, but we talked about sailing. Part of what we think might have happened to Gary and stuff is like he's now a guy who's not just a yachting guy who happens to be filmed. He's a guy on a hit show on Bravo who's
Right.
being filmed. You know what I mean? And
Listen, and I have to say, I think I will not be invited this year because all of the casts of Below Deck will be at BravoCon this year. So that's cool. And I hope they actually showcase them a little more than they did last year. There was just, not enough. It's
will they
very
do a panel? Will they do a panel of Below Deck?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I think they're going to do a few this year just because of the popularity of Below Deck and then the ratings being so good, but yeah, very, very interesting. Very,
Do they
very
get people to
interesting.
host those things?
They do.
Word on the street is they're starting to pick these people, guys. Or they're working
Word on
on
the
it.
street.
So
Word on the street. If you want to send a tweet,
if you
or
want
if you want to send an X,
if you want to send an X, it's no longer Twitter, it's X. If you guys want to send an X to Bravo, shout out your old pals Jason and Josh and tell them you want to see us host.
we're on
We'll
the list.
sacrifice that time for you guys and go host. So.
Yes, listen, that would be amazing. And I'm not trying to talk bad about it. Kyle actually hosted the party from Below Deck Med. I knew he was going to be a diva and fun because of how he was on the show, and he's fantastic, great. It's other people you wouldn't expect, people that you've seen like maybe once, and it was just it was very in your face, and I was just very confused.
Hey, real quick, Carolyn dropped this before, and I didn't catch it last time, but she mentioned that there's gonna be Below Deck people on Project Runway All-Stars on Thursday. So that's really cool. And if you haven't watched, Natalie and I used to watch Project Runway. I liked it because I like when it's a display of skill. You know what I mean? That happens to also be, and it's really not about the drama. It really is about the creations and then showing them and stuff. So that show I found enjoyable before. I should pick it up. I'll tell Natalie that they're going to be on. We should
check it out. They're going to do some uniform things. Gary will be on it. Some of the other cast members we've seen, a lot of the captains, Sandy, Lee will be on it. And then I saw a comment in her earlier too, that someone heard that Kate Chastain was a little whatever. I've actually met her. She was lovely, fantastic. And then her and Captain Lee also August 14th have a new show starting where they're going to be on a couch talking about what I thought was going to be kind of like a Below Deck thing, but all Bravo things. I think it could either go this way or this way.
Yeah.
They're great together, but is it going to be like, do you remember there was a show, and a lot of people will know this in the chat, the Bravo chat room. So that was actually Kate Chastain's idea. That was her thing. It was her, Portia, Giselle, and then I think they rotated another host. But I think this is another one of Kate Chastain's ideas, and I don't know if it's going to work or not. I have high hopes. I can't wait.
I just wonder how knowledgeable is Captain Lee really of anything that didn't have to do with his stuff on Bravo. Like, I mean,
I think that's the point. I think they're
like bringing me on and trying to get me to talk about all these other shows.
Well, and people would love that if I was sitting here talking to you about like Southern Charm or some other show. I think that would be fun. And I think that's what they're trying to do with Kate Chastain, is going to try to like tell him about like what happened in Vanderpump Rules with Scandival, because Kate is very involved with all of these other people in Bravo. I don't know. I'm not sure, but
also this was very sweet, Kara. Jason and Josh, I think you two would. I don't think you two would ever treat someone as being below you guys. Well, I'll tell you this. I think Powerball is up to $1 billion. I plan on winning, Kara. So we will find out shortly how I act.
Yeah, listen, we learned a long time. We were on stage, we were performers, and some would say that maybe I was a bit of a diva when I was like 19 years old, but we all learn our lessons. So you're right, Josh. I'm going to give some grace to these young yachties, and no one can compare to the divas of the circus.
I'm still waiting for the people who would say you aren't a diva. I'm kidding. Okay.
All right, guys. Josh, before we go, I want to go ahead and shout out. We have a great replay crew, as we know. If
Yeah.
you guys have anything to say about anything we've talked about, I'm going to go back and timestamp this as well. Comment below and let us know if you have any questions for Captain Sean. Next Tuesday, we will be back, in a regular setting. We're traveling right now, and we will talk to Sean about some of the questions you guys have. Summer had a great thing in the
we're trying to
live chat.
rotate into our friends more, like bringing
Yes.
Bailey and Natalie on and stuff, just to add variety for Jason and I too, guys, because I think it just helps us have new thoughts and stuff to hear and new opinions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's always fun too. It feels like a party. But and then replay crew, as Jason was saying, like, please leave your comments and stuff. I went back in. I've been commenting to you guys. I'm sure everyone's gonna scream at me about my thoughts on Harry and Margot. I get it. Fine.
I don't know what you're not seeing, Josh. What are you not seeing here? Let me bring up this photo for you. Oh God, not that one. This one. Look, this is a match made in heaven. What could possibly go wrong?
See it. Maybe I was hit on the head with a coconut or something. So yeah, but come at me in the chat. I'll go at you in the comments.
Like, we all have different opinions.
We all have different opinions.
And
Mine's
that's okay. Different perspectives.
Most, but that's okay.
And I love talking about Below Deck because it's so when I do Anchor Watch with you, it's so fun. Sometimes when we're talking about like housewives and stuff like that, it gets very like there's not that much drama. Like you don't have like a captain or a chief stew like robbing old people or trying to hide money. It doesn't happen. So it's just like kind of a fun show. But I get why you would say that, it gets redundant because like we see the same thing, right? On Below Deck, every franchise. It's like who's sleeping with who is the drunk mess, who is eating the pasta. That's what we always want to know, right? Who's going to have the pasta photo of the season. But yeah, it's always fun to get a different opinion. So we will have Bailey, Greg, Natalie, everyone joining us many times this season, and we might have some other people pop in. So thank you guys for joining us.
We are supposed to be having some new people pop in. One more thing, guys. Jason and I have been toying with the idea of doing a second show. We have some ideas, but you guys are so creative and smart. If you think of anything, shoot us a message. You could tweet us directly or whatever. I'm at SeeJoshGo, not Twitter. X. I gotta get used to saying X. You can X me if you want at SeeJoshGo.
You can shower X, Josh, if the friction is right.
You can X Jason Barrett. And if you want Jason in the shower, he has a site. But yeah,
OnlyFans.
But yeah, let us know. Yeah, love you guys. This is fun. But people have been saying for a while, you guys should do another show. You should do another show. And some we're trying to get
figuring it out because
I can't watch another friend. I don't have the time with the two little ones. So
no, 100%. No, I'm not going to get you into another one.
Yeah,
guys.
So we got to think of something to do that's not covering a show.
Yes, that's true. We can talk about a lot of stuff. That'll be fun. All right, guys, we're ending with 170 in the room. So if you haven't pushed the like button, please do so already. And we will see you guys next week for Anchor Watch. Night, guys.